Dolphins fans, I am back in studio. It's great to be back and great to be talking about the Fins. I am Will Scott. Welcome in to Dolphins Today. Obviously, a lot to discuss. We've gotten a lot of updates since the last time I was in studio, so we'll get to that in a second. But first, help us get to 32,000 subscribers. Go down, subscribe to the channel. Need about 150 more. And I know what Fins Nation is all about, how legit Fins Nation is. I think we can get there by the end of the day. Let's reach another milestone. Help us get to 32,000 subscribers. Let's talk about our quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, because yesterday we did learn that he is officially ruled out for the game on Sunday at MetLife Stadium against the Jets. Not a surprise. We saw that coming. That is the right decision. He suffered a concussion on Thursday Night Football against the Bengals. Looked very scary. And at the time, we were concerned about this being a potential season-ending injury for Tua, maybe even an injury that would threaten his career. However, MRI, other checks have come back clean, so we've received a lot of good news since that very scary injury on Thursday night in Cincinnati. But even with that good news, do not rush Tua Tagovailoa back. I want to get this guy well. I want him to get to 100% before he's on the football field again. That might mean missing several games, but whatever it takes to get to 100%, that's what you need to do. The Dolphins are making the right call, not playing him on Sunday in New York. Here's what Mike McDaniel said about Tua Tagovailoa's status. Yeah, this is something that's too early to give a definite timeline. I can comfortably say that he'll be out for this game against the Jets, but anything beyond that, we're just focused on making sure he's at optimal health and then crossing that bridge. So it's a little early for definitive timelines beyond that. So Mike McDaniel confirming Tua is out on Sunday. He also confirmed that Teddy Bridgewater will start against the Jets. We saw Teddy play the entire second half against Cincinnati. Played pretty well. I thought he did a pretty solid job stepping in to replace Tua Tagovailoa. Here's what he did. Nearly 200 passing yards, completed 14 of 23 passes, 1 touchdown. The one costly interception in the end, which again, it looked like it hit the ground, but they didn't really review it. One interception that cost the Dolphins the game. But when you consider everything that transpired on Thursday night, I thought Teddy did a decent job. I thought he did a serviceable job coming as the backup quarterback. The Dolphins were in the game until the very end. They were driving down the field in the end, a chance to win the game before the interception, but this was a primetime game on national television, the first real action that he'd gotten all year, and then his friend, his starting quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, his teammate, went down, taken to the hospital. So all that considered, I thought Teddy did a pretty good job on Thursday against Cincinnati. Here is what he did last season as the starting quarterback in Denver. That is something to consider here. Yes, he's the backup in Miami, but the previous seasons, he was a starter in the league. Started the 2020 season for the Carolina Panthers, 2021 with the Denver Broncos. Put up decent numbers, over 3,000 yards, a 66.9% completion percentage, 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Here's my take. We need to rally behind Teddy Bridgewater. I understand that we're all sad about Tua. We're all wanting Tua to get back, and I also understand that most of us would prefer Skylar Thompson. Skylar is the more exciting quarterback out of the two based on what he did in the preseason. He outperformed Teddy Bridgewater in the preseason, but still, Bridgewater is by far the more proven quarterback in the NFL. We need to rally behind Teddy Bridgewater because he should do a pretty good job as the backup, and he should beat the Jets. What is your confidence level in Teddy Bridgewater? Scale it 1 to 10. Down in the comment section, go down, let me know. It is the pinned comment on today's video. So when an ad break comes, go down, chime in. What is your confidence level in Teddy Bridgewater as the starting quarterback until Tua returns? Tom Pelissero reported this yesterday, and I definitely want to hit on this. With Tua Tagovailoa sidelined indefinitely, the Dolphins worked out quarterbacks Ben DiNucci, Jake Fromm, and Reid Sinnett per The Wire. They signed Sinnett to the practice squad. So welcome back, Reid Sinnett, a familiar name returning to the Miami Dolphins, was with the Dolphins primarily on the Fins practice squad in 2020 and 2021, was the preseason stud last year, but was waived, picked up by the Eagles last October, was released by the Eagles a few weeks ago after the preseason, was signed to Miami's practice squad yesterday. So it's good to have Reid Sinnett back, and I think they made the right call here, re-signing Sinnett You work out Ben DiNucci. For memes purposes, DiNucci would have been legendary to bring in. Jake Fromm worked out for the team as well. I'm not that high on Jake Fromm. So, yeah, I think Reid Sinnett probably the best option out of those three because of the familiarity he has with the team and with the teammates, with his former teammates, obviously. Grade the signing of Reid Sinnett. Type A, B, C, D, or F down in the comment section. Go down, chime in. What do you think about the signing of Reid Sinnett? They have brought back a familiar name here. Here's what he did for the Philadelphia Eagles in the preseason. Not as good as he was with the Dolphins in the 2021 preseason. Still decent numbers, 25-48, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick for Sinnett. Let's take a look now at the updated quarterback depth chart. This is with Tua Tagovailoa out at least for 1 week, probably more than that, but right now at least 1 week. So Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the guy. He's going to be QB1, Skylar Thompson QB2. I personally think there should be a short leash with Teddy Bridgewater when you consider how Teddy has looked and when you consider how Skylar looked in the preseason. But again, Teddy's more proven, so I don't think the leash is going to be that short. Reid Sinnett, the practice squad quarterback. So what they've done by bringing in Sinnett is, let's say, God forbid, Teddy were to get hurt, and Skylar would take over, then you would want to have a quarterback ready to go off the practice squad. They did not have a practice squad quarterback before the signing of Sinnett, so that is why they have brought in Sinnett. It is the right move to do so. Guys, go support our QB, Tua Tagovailoa. Gear is on sale right now, chatsports.com/Tua. He's going to be back before we know it. Hopefully, we're certainly rooting for our guy, Tua's speedy recovery. Gear on sale right now, chatsports.com/Tua. Link is in the comments and the description to go pick up a Tua Tagovailoa jersey. Now let's get into more on Tua Tagovailoa because I certainly have some thoughts here on what's transpired, what I've seen on Twitter the last couple of days in terms of the things that we've seen and the things that we've heard. But ESPN did report this. The unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant involved in clearing Dolphins QB Tua Tagovailoa during Sunday's game against the Bengals has been fired after it was found that he made several mistakes in his evaluation, according to ESPN and multiple reports. So we heard this over the weekend. It's my first day back in studio, so I definitely wanted to hit on that. But yes, that is pretty significant that the neurotrauma consultant involved in clearing Tua against the Bills has been fired. Again, when we've talked about the process of clearing Tua, it did require an independent neurologist to do that. So this was not someone affiliated with the Dolphins medical team, but the investigation from the NFLPA is still ongoing. So we're going to await for more facts to come out and really see what goes on. But right now, the one person that's been fired was the independent neurologist that was not affiliated with the Miami Dolphins organization. Adam Schefter also reported this over the weekend. NFLPA and NFL soon are expected to agree to new protocols in which any time any player demonstrates any instability, he is not allowed to return to the game. The rule could go into effect as early as Week 5. So this weekend, we could start to see that rule take place. Mike McDaniel was asked about this rule change. Here's what he said. As far as the new adjusted rule, if it's safer for one player, I'm all over it. As far as the Bills game, our process and everything involved with how we approach the medical situation, I'm still very confident in how we did it. And Mike, I understand that he's been under some scrutiny. I think that's a little bit unfair to scrutinize Mike McDaniel right now before all the facts come out about this, but you do have to keep in mind that he's just listening to the Dolphins medical team, right? He's listening to doctors, and if Tua's saying he's okay and the doctors are saying he's okay, then he's going to play with his players. That's really the bottom line there. Here's what we know about what's going on with Tua, really the whole situation. So, again, Tua was cleared to return to the Bills by that independent neurologist by the Dolphins medical team. He was checked for concussion symptoms throughout the week. He was actually checked for symptoms every single day leading up to the Bengals game and was cleared to play against the Bengals. However, he did suffer a concussion in Cincinnati, a very serious concussion where his fingers froze, and it was a very scary injury. The independent neurologist that was cleared, that cleared Tua to return against Buffalo has been fired. The good news, MRI and scans have come back clean. Mike McDaniel confirmed that yesterday, and the investigation into everything is still ongoing, which is why I would say wait for the facts to come out. And we've had, as I said at the airport the other day in that video I put out, there's a lot that we don't know, right? And there's these Twitter doctors that are chiming in that don't know anything, that are saying, well, Mike McDaniel should be in trouble here. The Dolphins medical staff should be fired. It's not fair to comment on that before all the facts come out. We're going to continue to learn more information. We've learned a lot of information since Thursday night. So the longer this goes on, the deeper we get into the NFLPA investigation, the facts are going to come out. And I mentioned the Twitter doctors. This guy is definitely not a Twitter doctor. He's a real doctor, Chris Nowitzki. He is a neuroscientist, but he's gone on national television a couple times. He's interviewed by Dan Le Batard, and he's been ripping the Miami Dolphins, saying that Tua suffered 2 concussions in 5 days. Dr. Nowitzki, we do not know that for sure. So stop spreading misinformation. That's a dangerous thing to do, especially in today's world with social media. So we don't know exactly what went down. Obviously, a guy like Chris Nowitzki knows a lot more than I do about concussions. But we do know is that Tua cleared several checks. And so my advice to everyone, before we freak out on Twitter about everything, wait for the facts to come out about this Tua Tagovailoa injury, because we are going to learn more information here in the coming days and in the coming weeks. But the bottom line, and what we're all wanting right now, is to get Tua well. I understand that we want to see him back on the field. He needs to be 120% before that happens. If that means him missing several games, that's fine. We got to get Tua Tagovailoa well, because we can't think about this by a week-by-week thing. We got to think about this not just with Tua's career, but with his life, right? This guy just got married. He wants to have a family one day. We want to make sure that his head is okay, right? And we need to make sure he gets well before he returns to the football field. But again, let's wait for the facts to come out about this investigation. We do not know that he suffered a concussion in Miami against the Bills. We're still waiting for that investigation to kind of clarify more facts about that process and how he got cleared. But go down and subscribe to the channel, because we're going to continue to keep you posted on everything Tua related, everything Dolphins related. You don't miss anything. Go down and subscribe to the channel.